going to see like what is end-to-end process of Agile. Like in end-to-end process of Agile, first we are going to see like inputs from stakeholders or customers, users, and team of requirement. Like stakeholders, like customers, we get requirements from customer, users, or a team of requirement. Like there may be like a business analyst who gets requirement from the client, and then they give the requirements to us. So these ways we get input of requirements to the software. And we have a product owner who analyzes the requirements. Like he analyzes the requirement, and he makes it at feature and stories. Based on the features and story only, we are going to develop the software. And he creates a backlog called product backlog. Product backlog means it contains all the requirements from the customers. Then we have a like agile team who is like they are the part of development. This team only develops the software. Like how they like we have initial like first we create a sprint task. Like what are the things which we do for a sprint, we create it as a sprint backlog. So like from the product backlog we create a sprint. Like sprint means it's a set of activities, like to like how fast we are going to complete the development of the software. Like usually a sprint will take around for example, certain companies will take 2 weeks, and certain companies will take around 4 weeks, like exactly a month. So we take these stories into a sprint. Like sprint is a like a duration of producing the like completing the user stories assigned to the sprint. Like what is the duration we take to complete the stories. And in sprint activities, like we cannot take all the stories which is there in the product backlog. So we take only like as per we discussed in the previous part one. We discussed like what is the role of the like product owner. He decides what are the features and stories which should go first in the initial set of release. So he plans that feature in the sense like completely like what, for example, when we say like cart, adding item to a cart, like we need a shopping cart, that is a feature. And stories in the sense we need to add items to the cart, we need to delete items to the cart, that kind of things we say it as a like epic. When it is high level we say it as epic. Like adding item to a cart, it is an high level, it we can say it as a epic. And low level is adding and deleting, like when selecting of items to the cart, maybe like a low level. So we can take it as a story. So these things are decided by the product owner. So what, based on that, you will assign the user story like user stories and task, like everything in the sprint. And we decide who will be working on, like scrum master and everybody in the team will decide, like they will have a sprint planning meeting, who will take what task, and what is the time period we have to deliver the software, like within the sprint, like within the 2 weeks or 4 weeks of sprint. What are the stories we will be planned to deliver on the sprint. So that is the thing which we do in agile process. Like we do sprint planning initially. So after that what we'll do, like we create a backlog call, like from the product backlog we create a sprint backlog. In the sprint backlog only we will be having stories to work on the sprint. So what happens then, we will be running with a sprint. Like we do everyday sprint, like daily scrum meeting. Like daily scrum master will conduct a meeting. Like every 24 hours he will conduct a meeting, like what happened yesterday, like is there any impedance to our task, like whether do we have any impedance, like software is not working, like tools which are needed for producing the software is not there. So like that of things we can discuss in the daily scrum meeting. So in that we can tell what are the problems we face in development or testing any activities. In daily scrum meeting we can tell, like suppose when we face any hurdles in between producing the development of the software, we can tell in the daily scrum meeting. It will take hardly 10 to 15 minutes, which it should not be more than 10 to 15 minutes, because it will take our work like production hours. So that should be considered in mind by scrum master. It should not be more than 15 minutes, and it is part of sprint ceremonies. We have many sprint ceremonies, like sprint planning meeting. Initial sprint planning meeting is a ceremony, and sprint like a daily scrum meeting is a sprint scrum ceremony, or sprint agile sprint ceremony. And sprint review, like after we complete a sprint we have a review. And there is one more thing called sprint retrospective, like what are the things went well, so that is also a part of sprint ceremony, like that is scrum ceremonies. So then what happens after daily meeting and everything, and we are at the end of the sprint activity, like we have completed the sprint. So based on that, what we'll do is we do a sprint review. What we do in a sprint review is, like, what are the things we have completed and completed in the sprint, and what are the things we have finished, like we have made, like in previous slide we have discussed like what is definition of done. So what are the things are definition of done, like what are the finished products, what are the definition, like what are the things user stories ready for release. So there will be one more thing called like release planning, like what are the things we can release in the software, that also will be there. So based on that sprint review, we like push the codes, like we release the software, and remaining what all the things pending in the sprint is called sprint backlog. We so that backlog, and also we have a product backlog. So additional things other than the sprint backlog is it will be there in the product backlog. In this time the product owner will come, he will analyze what are the backlogs there in the, like what are the things which we haven't completed the task in the sprint, that is the sprint backlog. You will compare, and also with the existing product call product backlog you will compare, and you will plan for next sprint activity, like next like what are the things we need to deliver to the client, that you will plan. So this is how the process will go completely, like every time it will go for a iteration, like every sprint, like one sprint completes, next sprint will be coming based on the product backlog and sprint backlog. So based on the finished product we analyze what are the things pending in sprint backlog, and the existing product backlog. So based on that we will take up the stories, and in this we identify people who will take the story. So that is the main thing, and each of them will size the like story also, because how fast we can complete the story, like estimation we make. In this everybody will be part of it, like in estimation, like development team and testing team will be part, like in completion, like how much time or period they can complete the user story based on acceptance criteria. So what happened, the finished product will be delivered to client, and the client should review the product before the release, and then if he accepts this we can release the product, otherwise it will be go for next sprint. Suppose if he is coming for any changes, so that changes should be incorporated, and then only the software should be released. So if the changes cannot be incorporated in the particular release itself, it goes for next like next sprint, we can take it for next sprint. So that type of things we need to take it. So in this sprint activity, testing team will do, like they'll test the product, they raise bugs, even the bugs will be coming, and then they will also send the bugs to the development team, they fix the bugs within the particular sprint time. So that things also will be coming in happening in sprint retrospective. This is like sprint preview, like in sprint review we see what are the backlogs, that is the thing. In sprint retrospective what we will see is, like we see what went well and what went wrong, what are the improvement areas, like why the sprint we complete only this much of stories, like we have many things, many reports will be given by scrum master to the like top management, like we have a burn down chart, like what is the effort we put on the particular sprint is called burn down chart, based on the issues, based on the size of the like sizing which we did for estimation. So burn down chart can be prepared by scrum master, and you will discuss with the top management on sprint retrospective meeting. Similarly we have velocity chart. In velocity chart, in the sense, in particular sprint what is the, like what are how many stories we have completed in the particular sprint, so that is called velocity, like velocity of the team, like speed of delivery, like how many stories we have completed in a particular sprint, that is so these type of reports will be prepared by Scrum Master. And we have many tools, like it automatically gives, like we have Jira tool which automatically takes care of sprint activities, everything from the beginning to the end. Like we can get reports, we can make administration of the Jira, everything can be done with a single Jira tool. The agile process can be completely managed by Jira tool. So it is a particular tool in a market. We have various tools, but Jira is most specifically used for agile